little behind schedule today. I didn't have a good night's sleep. My husband was snoring again, and since I have kind of an aversion to earplugs, my sleep suffered for it. So I ended up seeing my son off to school, and then I ended up going back to bed. So I only just got up a little bit ago, and I'm really not feeling all that great. I don't know, when I sleep past a certain hour, it's like I'm kind of like a zombie for the rest of the day. So, um, not feeling too hot, but I figured, well, better than missing another day to go ahead and stream a little bit. So today we're going to do a couple of just little touch-up things, and then we might get into starting a new painting. I'll get into that why shortly, but first I think we'll go ahead and see about at least adding some kind of an indication on this little area here as to what its purpose is, because some folks may not get what it's supposed to be. So I figured we need to add some kind of a sign up here, either something that, spell out info, or maybe just a simple I kind of thing. I think we'll go with the simple and see if we can do that. I don't know what signs we have. Actually, let's try Exonite. It's pretty big and bold. In fact, we're using that for the sign outside, or P for Plaza, or Protostar, or however you want to get it. So I think we'll stick with that. Now, the reason why I am thinking of starting a new painting is because yesterday, for some of you that may have noticed, I tweeted like a collection of some of the paintings I've done over the past several months. I actually did one during beta, and it was mostly, it wasn't like the object of the build wasn't to make a painting. It was just, I was trying to think of different things to do, and I wanted to make an easel, and then have like a little palette with some colors on it. And if you look in the custom built decor showcase thread in the housing subforum of the WildStar forums, you'll see it. It's in the very first post. It's pretty embarrassing looking because it's very poorly done, but that was, I guess, technically my first painting. So you can see I've kind of, well, I hope I've come a long way from back then to what I've been able to put together now. Anyway, I was kind of reminiscing about it, and so yesterday I posted some tweets and some updates on my Twitch thread in the forums, just to kind of show some of the things that we've been doing, some of the favorites that I have. And it seems that I guess it caught the attention of a lot of people, even though a lot of these paintings have been around for months now. Not everybody goes and visits everyone's home. I have tweeted and posted the images of them in the past as well, but not everybody watches every single thread, and I guess I just caught the attention of a lot of people yesterday. And so I've had a few ask if I would do commissions, and that they'd like to buy the ones that I've done and all this other stuff. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I've been asked to do commissions in the past, but in all honesty, I have no idea how to go about doing that, because it feels weird to me to charge somebody for something I've made. especially if it's something like they're requesting something specific for me to make for them. Maybe they don't like what I make. You know what I'm saying? It's, I don't know. I guess it's just a thing of mine. Plus, I don't know how to put a monetary value on my time because I'm sure compared to a lot of people, I spend a great deal more time researching and tweaking and doodling to get it just like I would like it. And if I really tallied up all the hours, it would probably be beyond normal. And I wouldn't want to unduly charge somebody just because I am, wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist because clearly I don't, see, I'm not even using angles here. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. But um, I don't know. It just feels weird to charge. Most of the things that I've built for others, it's usually been guildmates, and I've just done it free of charge. They kind of give me free reign of what to do. They give me like the pirate boat, the one that I built it for. They asked that I stick with the kind of pirate theme, but from there, they said, anything goes, whatever you feel like doing, and that's a little bit more doable for me because when someone says, okay, I'd like, say they want a painting, a landscape of a particular location or something, that might be tougher because a lot of the times, like take for instance the dragon painting, um, which I will show it now since I'm talking about it, but the dragon painting. The reason I decided to try that was because the very first time that I saw the Draken fence, I actually saw it in somebody's home. They had it kind of lined along the wall, and immediately Scales of a Dragon came to my mind. And I kind of put that idea, you know, in a little folder file or something in my brain and said, sometime down the road I'm going to try and make a painting of that to see if I can make a little dragon. So when I posted this yesterday, there was a lot of people speculating as to what I used. They thought maybe it was like the Dragon Hoard, like the treasure pile, but the Dragon Hoard version, which doesn't have all the vases and stuff. And I think that would have, it's possible that could work really well. And for someone else, if they want to attempt a similar kind of thing. For those that were around when I was building it, they know that getting the angles and the depth was really difficult. But it all come from just seeing a piece and saying, "Huh, that kind of looks like this," and then running with it later. Um, but to just say, "Hey, I want you to paint a dragon," I probably would have been stumbling as to what I could possibly use for that. I would be struggling, and there's just extra pressure when you're kind of. It's not like they give you a specific deadline, but to say, "Hey, I want this specific item," then it kind of puts you in a bind a little bit. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. There's a lot of people that work on commission that make a good amount of money off of it. But for me, building is more kind of a mostly spontaneous kind of, I don't know. Uh, I don't really have a plan in mind. I mean, I know a general idea, but I don't know how I'm going to get there, if that makes sense. It's just like I knew I wanted a mall, but I had no idea how I was going to put it together, and I just said, well, I want to use these pieces, and I want to use those pieces, and so I just mushed them together in different ways to see, okay, what works for me. Um, Others work in different ways. They could just say, it's like my son with Legos. He could like grab a box of Legos and see all sorts of things and I'm still trying to figure out how he put, one piece and two piece together to make something nifty. I don't have that knack for just saying, okay, I want to make this, so I need this and this and this. It's more, I look at something and it reminds me of something else, and that kind of spurs the idea, and I just kind of go with that. So I have a couple of people specifically that are interested in me working on some paintings for them. I think one actually just wants to get a hold of some of the existing ones that I have, whereas another is actually hoping that I make something new for them. And they've given some ideas and stuff, but I kind of explained to them what I'm saying now, how uh, I find that awkward. It's not that I don't think I can do it, it's just I hesitate to do it because, um, again, I don't want to disappoint them, for them to have an expectation of what might come out of it, and then me to just kind of fail miserably or whatever. So I told them what I will do is I will play around with some ideas. If something nice comes out of it, then I'll give them, the opportunity to say, yeah, they want that, and then I'll pass along the code. But I just don't want to make any promises that I'm not sure I can uphold. Usually when I build for other people, it's kind of like, oh, take your time, just kind of, let your imagination go, and I don't have any kind of set boundaries. So I prefer to work that way. And because of that, I really hate to charge anybody. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going, oh man, if I, could do that, then I would just, uh, make lots of money with it and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, I can make my own money. It's more I build for the enjoyment of it than trying to, make a lot of stuff. Now, if someone wants to, donate something or just wants to gift me something in return, or build me something, then that's different. But that's of their own volition. It's not like I'm going to actually ask anybody for that. That said, most of the time when someone asks me to build something for them, I tend to kind of avoid that. I've only done it for a couple of guildies, as I said, just mostly because it's one for me, when I take on a project, big or small, it's time consuming. Um, uh, Especially if, like say they've got a particular theme for their plot and they want me to add something to it. Um, that already kind of narrows things down. So then I have to really spend a lot of time Googling and daydreaming about what kind of stuff, might work. And, I don't want to give them something just that I feel like anybody could do. I want to give them something special. So, I just take a lot of time. And so I tend to not take on those kind of projects too often, simply because of that. And so if you're thinking of, enlisting me on that kind of thing, it's uh, not something I will probably be doing on a regular basis. Kind of just it's like right now, with the one that's kind of wanting me to build a painting for them. Uh, I also have my own project going on. I've got a Valentine's Day event coming up for my guild that I'm planning to host. So I have another alt, with the plot that I'm building there. And it's kind of coming down to the last couple of weeks, and I feel like I might be halfway done. And that makes me nervous because I want everything to be nice and done and finished, for them. But I think this other person wants theirs kind of around the same time, so it's a little bit of a pinch for time. Plus, there's lots of other things I'd like to do in the game besides build. I do, work on the contracts and stuff because you have to keep the money coming in, because eventually you're going to run out if you just spend, spend, spend. Let's see, I think that's okay with just the three. I was thinking about putting speakers on all of them, but I think it makes more sense to just have them in front part of it. And I don't know if we've got any displays or what kind of electronics we got. Some of these things I have no idea. That looks like a gas pump, but not. Guess we could use the keyboards. Wow, my head is really killing me. That's another reason why I've been kind of absent a lot, is my headaches pretty bad of late. Okay. A couple of the, I guess we'll give them a little laptop kind of things going on. I think that'll be all right. Let's one here. The reason though I'm working on this is because we started it and I kind of got sidetracked. I'm really bad with that. That's another reason why I hate to make commitments to people, because I am like the lop. You know, I'll be talking and ooh, shiny, and run off. And I do that in real life as well. I'll like have a basket of clothes working on, you know, folding them, and then something else will come up and I'll like set that aside and go do something else. And I'm horrible. I'm very easily distracted. It's bad. So yeah. Let's see. So anyway, I figured it was high time we finish this up and try and make it look like something a little more than it was. Oh, not. Oh, oh. Probably should have just set it in, you know. Wow, that's like nowhere near it. There we go. A little closer. Let's try this. That's awful. Let's see. I don't know if that's supposed to be. I don't know if that's upside down or not. Guess it doesn't matter. I can put my keyboard on any way I want, right? Wow. This is why half the time I enjoy working with it straight and then turning it later, because man, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Is let's see. Let's turn this. So, because that's just not lining up like I want. What else could go there? Ugh. That's so bad. As you can see, that's still warping on its own. I don't know why it does that. Thankfully, Katya's add-on fixes it most times. Sometimes it goes ahead and sticks. I only have one of these, so I'm not going to be able to do this for all of them. So I may just make the one here and the others out. Just like I haven't gotten a hold of any more NPCs, which I've been trying to, and while there are some for sale, a lot of the prices are kind of out there, so I've kind of not gotten into messing with them. I don't know, I'm stingy, I guess. I'm gonna untilt this. This. I don't know, want it that there and this one at the front. That look better. Yeah, something like that. I don't know, I just wanting something mechanical looking in there. So I'm gonna link this to the bottom one. Just now I'm gonna rotate it. Something like that. Probably not ideal, but that's the way. I could put some like cabinetry down in here. I'm not sure. Not a lot of Chua shelves. We could probably use those. And just I don't know. Maybe this won't show up very good. Mostly because of the curve. Actually, let's create. See how I'm just eyeballing? That's probably a big no-no, but it's the way I do it a lot of times. Sometimes I get lucky, but it works all right. About the time that you notice that it doesn't is when you have some big architectural piece like the mall or a house or something, and then you're like building it all around the walls, and then when you come to the end, they don't meet up right, and it's like, uh-oh, that's a big clue that you needed to use math. Going to put a drawer for each tellers or whatever they are. Okay, and then they need some kind of handle. So let's see, do we have any bottles? We have 3 medium bottles, so let's use the medium bottle. That'll work fine for me. Again, I'm just eyeballing where it goes. If I had been smart, I would have built one drawer and then just copied it over, but I didn't. So here we are. This is probably why it's so time consuming for me, because I don't follow any kind of solid rules on how I put stuff together. But whenever I'm building something like this, you'll notice I do try, when it's feasible, when I think I can get away with it and doesn't look too forced, I try to keep using the same stuff that I already have in my crate because one, it saves money. It also saves space usually. Because if I went and got something else, then that's 3 bottles, it's not being used, it could take up space, and later I may feel compelled to get rid of them just to make room for something else down the road. Now that I've refurbished them using them here, then that frees up some space for something else, and I don't know. Okay, so looks a little bit more defined. I'm sure there's other things I could put in, like a little potted plant. Just to give it a little, there's always people that will bring their little plants to the office. I like that one. And there's probably somebody that has some drinks, or maybe there's some papers on there, but I don't want to add too much detail. I'm just kind of leaving it simplified because, again, I am kind of on the cusp here. I have under 500 decor that I can still place. And with paintings, that can be an issue the more detailed you get, depending on how many pieces you have to use for a particular item, creation or whatever. Like, for example, the dragon that we were showing earlier, that's a lot of dragon fences. There's short ones, well, regular ones, and then there's tall ones. I think I used for most of the little appendages and horns and stuff, and then you got the falcon fence for the teeth. So anyway, you'll notice that there is no longer the winter painting here. It is not gone per se, it's gone from here, but what I've done is I made a set. I actually have a set of all of my paintings now in preparation for moving them eventually. They are down, or the one is down in here now. You can see I'm still kind of in the process of working on the art gallery that I'm planning on installing here. I'm not sure I'm happy with it. I still have to work out how I'm going to do the lighting. Right now I just have this giant sconce in here because I was taking a screening of the hearth one, but I'm just not sure I'm going to stick with this. I've got the glass floor so that as you come in, you not only see the paintings that are on display downstairs, but you can kind of already see a hint of the ones that are upstairs, and that kind of lures you to go up. But I may end up replacing that with just regular floors. I'm not really sure yet. I started to make it a thick floor all the way with hover park pieces, but I don't know, it felt more cramped because of the thickness of them. And while I know there's or hoverboard pieces that are flat, they have that little this here the little strip in them showing, and I've been trying to avoid having that show anywhere. Um, there may be a few places where it actually is shown, but this is an example of, yeah, see, you can see all the junk that's kind of hidden by the thick wall. You can see I went ahead and sunk this one in pretty far so that you just see this really thin frame, even though it's actually super thick. Um, because as I explained before, I built it that way so that it can stand alone in the shop, but when someone actually takes it to their home, there's probably a lot of pieces they could remove or change out to better suit. You know, if they want to frame it differently, they could probably do that quite easily. You'll remember this one from the Holiday Advent House. Um, it's a bit bigger than it was. I just enlarged it slightly, and then I put a little frame around it to kind of box it in a little better, but you can see all the junk. Eventually, I think I will have lots of these little sections. I haven't decided if I just want to build them straight up through the one wall so that it's connected from top to bottom, and then just have another section here and another section here, and maybe some at different angles, so perpendicular or whatever. But this is the start. This is where the paintings are going to come as I change them out into something different. And of course, you know, decor placed, as that gets eaten up, you know, depending on how many pieces per painting, I may only get to store a handful down here. I imagine I will probably eventually strike up a new alt that will just be for where my paintings go to live out the rest of their days or whatever. Because, you know, while I have some that I could probably stand to get rid of, there's a few that are, you know, I really like how they turned out, and so I don't necessarily want to get rid of them. I'd rather be able to just allow people to come and take a look at them if they want. So, but for now, this will be a temporary stay for them. So, as you saw, we took the winter painting and just moved it downstairs. And that means that that frees up a painting spot in the shop itself for a new painting. Now, someone asked me for a tutorial on how I do these paintings, and really, again, I'm the worst person to ask for a tutorial because I never approach the projects entirely the same. While there's some generalness, and I will go over that, a lot of it is just fumbling. I don't have a technique or anything that I go about using. First and foremost, you want to think about what you're going to use as the background. Now with these, I've kind of set this up as a standard. Basically all I did is the same frame as the landscape that we moved downstairs, and I've just turned it on its end to make it a different orientation from the others. And it may prove better if I widen it up a bit, so you can see that the surface is actually pretty broad, so I could probably extend that out quite a bit if I wanted. It's just I would have to move it piece by piece and kind of jigsaw it back together. And I also have to extend the ends, which, you know, if you want to do it evenly, you're going to have to move both and all that kind of stuff. For now, though, I'm going to keep it just this, just to keep it simple. A lot of times what I've done is, like for this one, you'll see I actually made it smaller by boxing it in a little bit more. Even though it's kind of almost the same length and everything, it's just slightly shorter. It just, I don't know, it felt better to make it that size rather than having it the big big one. It's probably because the item that we used for the sun part is square itself, so it just felt more right to have it rather than trying to join two pieces. So to get started with the painting, usually it comes with an idea. That's the very first thing. If you don't have an idea, there's no, I mean, it's not that there's no point in doing it, but you're probably going to fumble a lot more than you may be willing to. But then, you know, sometimes, you know, just mashing things together will give you ideas. But in this case, like I said, I had a fellow builder ask if I would create something new for a place that they're putting together. And they've given me the theme. It's a beach house. This is for Katya, by the way. And she's asked if I would put together something that she really liked, the sunset and the dragon. She liked how there was kind of bold and talked about, you know, the sunset and everything. And I think that's the sky theme that she's using on her beach and everything. So she suggested, you know, she liked landscapes and mythical creatures, or, you know, fantasy creatures and stuff like that, like the dragon and stuff. And as I said earlier, I kind of explained to her that commission stuff is kind of awkward for me because usually I just kind of build stuff on a whim. It's not like I really have anything specific goal in mind. It just kind of comes to me at times. Not even a regular thing. It's just kind of once in a while I get this, ooh, you know, I have an idea. And so I told her I don't want to commit to it, but I'll tinker around, and if something comes of it, then I'll be happy to turn it over to her. So with that in mind, I'm going completely different than what she suggested. She was thinking maybe I could try a phoenix or something, because I think she liked the golden aspect of the sunset and the dragon gold. But with her theme being beach house, I just keep going back to beach types of things, like maybe a lighthouse, or you know, like a lighthouse on some rocks and having the waves come up or something. And for like creatures, I'm thinking, you know, clownfish, or some kind of jellyfish, or like a whole coral scene. I can picture all sorts of nifty stuff, but it's one thing to picture it. It's something else to try and think of, okay, what kind of objects would, you know, bring that to life. So one idea that I've had is to make a seahorse. I don't know if I can do it. I'm gonna try. I have a few pieces in mind that I think might work well, because the seahorse is kind of bony looking, almost like, you know, it's just like just a lot of bone and points and sharpness to it. And I've seen all kinds of pictures and paintings of it, and they come in a lot of variety of colors, so I can pretty much make it any color I want. And the closest thing that I think will work is some of the strain stuff. I think that will work nicely for it. The thing is, I only have a limited amount of pieces on hand today, but I'm willing to see if we can kind of start piecing it together a little bit. And if it looks like it might go how I'm thinking, then I'll go ahead and craft some more, and we'll continue with it tomorrow. But the problem is, or the problem I'm facing at the moment is, you know, if I'm going to have black, it really helps to have it good stark black. This one is actually the maintenance platform. There's two pieces here to make that really a little bit better black, so it makes that gold dragon stand out a little more. This here is more of like a dingy gray. That's just because it's the travel poster background, you know, the back side. But that doesn't seem to suit a nice, pretty ocean, sea, beach kind of theme for me. I want something a little bit more almost like the snow back here that you see, the blues and the purples and things like that. So the thing that came to my mind was using the dressers for the Oran. Doesn't want to work right. Now I know it sounds weird, and it's probably going to look a little weird because it's wood, but I think I might be able to get it to work, even with it being layered and stuff. The only thing is, if you look here, is I'm going to have to contend with the thickness of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about here very shortly. And there you go. You got this really big, gargantuan amount of dresser sticking out. I like the surface of it, pretending that that's like some oceany water, and we're just going to see this seahorse swimming around in it. But this is going to pose a problem. So probably what I'll do for the display here is just do as I did with this one. I will just double it up and make it a little thicker so that it will box that in a little better. It's probably not ideal to do it that way because it does make it clunkier. And typically, if someone is going to put this in their house, normally they would have it, against a wall, and most often it'll be someone that's got a prefab home or something. But if it's for someone that's got a custom home that the walls are thin and they can't fit it right up against it, boxing it in like this is really the only option. Maybe they could pretend it's some kind of a cabinet or something that has a nice decoration on the door, add a little handle or something here or whatever, and just go with that. But so yeah, that's the main thing I think that's going to kind of throw it off. So anyway, so what I was going to do was I think I can get away with just 3, and since I don't like having that design repeat right away, I'm going to rotate the middle one just to break it up a little bit. Now this may not work. This is just something I was playing around with in my head earlier, and I thought, this could work for what I'm thinking of. So in my head, this is like you're looking out into, you're underwater, and that's just a bunch of water scene. If I decide to add other elements to kind of help bring that in a little bit more, maybe some like the teal. No, it's the barnacle weed, I think. Now, I'm just using this as an example. I probably won't leave it for now because I'm going to concentrate mostly on the seahorse. But you could, if you're able to, I hesitate to just leave it like that because it's probably not going to work right. But like you could add in a few pieces of this like leafy stuff to kind of the main thing I'm worried about is this sticking out. I don't think that's sticking out. Even if it's sunk down, if you're going to have that hanging on the wall, you don't want anything down at the bottom poking out. Yeah, see, I don't think that's going to work really well, like I'm thinking, but anywho, so the piece that's probably the easiest for me to get a hold of is, I think it's the giant strain blade. I say easy, it's a from a recipe that you purchased from the Defile vendor. So you do have to have reputation with that. I think it's like the lowest amount, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But once you get the recipe, then you can craft it anytime you want, as long as you have the materials available. It does come in pretty huge, and it is pretty bony and ugly looking, but like I said, I think it lends itself nicely to the idea of a seahorse. And I'll show you what I mean by that here. If I can turn this like I want. Now, because the blue is so bright, it might make it where it doesn't seem like this is very bold, I guess. Maybe one might want it to be. There's like the start of it, sort of. And all I'm doing here is I'm replicated it a little bit to kind of beef up the little spiny part that would represent the chest of the of it. Now I'll probably end up having to move this a bit because it usually has a really long kind of funky snout here, so. But like, probably have to like use this down quite a bit. Rotate it. Angle it just so, because what I'd want is to have that little curl that for the tail. But I don't want to look at, make it look too pieced together. That makes sense. You got to just kind of work with the angles that you already have, that's already in the object, and then just kind of go with that and do your best to kind of work with it. As I said, I don't have a lot of pieces. I think I was able to make 7 today without having to buy any new materials. And if I feel like it's going in a good direction, then I'll probably go ahead and make some more tomorrow. Now, for a lot of these like little creature paintings that I've done, I say a lot. I think I've only done a couple, but and there's at least one that you guys haven't seen yet that I'm holding off for the time being. It's more about just kind of representation of them. You can't really get too much into the detail, because if you start really getting too hampered by the detail, then you're going to find yourself kind of not really liking how it's going, because the objects we have just don't lend themselves well to that kind of thing. Really want to make that smaller, but not gonna let me. Gonna have to go with it. So if I make it too small, then the further See how the further you back off, the less visible it becomes. I want it to be at least somewhat visible. Let's see if we can do one more to finish that curl. I'd really, really like to make that smaller. But if I do, it's just gonna, see how it just disappears even with you really close. Not gonna work like that. So I'm gonna try this, sink it in a little bit at an angle, pop out just the part that I want, see if that works. That's a little better. That way I get the curve that I'm going for the little tail. Okay. That doesn't look like it copied that second one, does it? I think I moved the one and then changed it so it didn't stay. There we go. Okay, so probably what I'll do is I'll take top one and make that the parent of the rest and just start grouping this up so that I can move it as one piece. Don't know how many pieces I actually have used yet. I think I said I had 7 altogether, so I guess I've used 6 so far. Oops. I accidentally linked the wrong thing. There we go. So if I move this just to where the tail is kind of that way and maybe rotate it a little bit so it's a little bit more upright, then I'll have room for the snout. There we go. Bring him up a little bit. That looks a little better. Now it could be that maybe I decide later I don't like the dark blue of the dressers and I go for something else. I could try the folded shirt blue, just as an example. It's less textured, so you don't get the little wave marks and stuff, but it is a little less busy and lighter, sort of. So maybe the purple will stand out better on it than on this other blue. It is a little bit mal-shaped though, so you have to keep that in mind. So as you push it forward to kind of block, it's gonna be a little weird. For now though, I think I'm gonna keep the dresser bits. Just looking how badly this looks, so not joined right. That's one of the funny things about these paintings is from the front, they're gonna look, I'm not gonna say excellent, but you'll have what you're aiming for. When it comes to looking at them from the side and stuff, you're gonna see how things are sticking out really weird and not at the same depth and everything, and it's just gonna It's just going to be more noticeable. Like that, the curl looks a little weird from this side, but over here it doesn't look too bad. Just one of those things. Okay, for the snout, that's a little bit more tricky. I'm going to try it this way and see. It needs to be kind of small, but not too small. Now, I don't mind this sticking out here because, like I said, seahorses are kind of like, they got a lot of bony parts all down their spine and all along their head and everything. So that might work to my advantage that that's actually sticking out like it is. But I also want to get, maybe there should be a little bit more of a head part sticking out there rather than it all being connected. But that's all we're going to be able to do today because that's the last piece of the spine, the strain blades or whatever that I have. But so you get the idea how to start it, I guess. It's just one of those things. Usually I'll see an item and I say, well, that kind of, has that texture or that color that I want or that I find interesting. And I think, what does that remind me of? And then that's where I kind of get the ideas to put this and that together. So even though Katia said, gold and, Phoenix and landscape and stuff, I'm going a completely different direction and hoping that it will still be something that she might want. Because like I said, I probably won't be charging her for it because, it's not really what she's requesting. I'm just going off on a limb on myself and putting something kind of weird together. So, and if she doesn't like it, then, no biggie. It's another creation that I've been able to put together. So it'll be fun to try and see if we can make it work. Like I said, it really depends on how busy this thing gets before I start dressing it up with little extras. And I might go ahead and, like I said, extend this out, make it a little wider so it's not so narrow. Really depends on just how flary and everything I decide to make it. But I'm definitely liking how it's coming together so far. I'm probably going to beef this up a little more just to make it a little bit more visible from this distance. And I think it's really cute. But anyway, I know it's probably a short show, but better short than not at all, I guess. So yeah, for those of you that are thinking about giving the core painting a try, I really recommend it. It's just an extra fun way of expressing yourself a little differently than the norm. It's one thing to make a set of stairs, but if you can put together a little scene, it's like telling a little story almost with different things. And it's a good exercise to kind of get used to looking at things other than what they are. Like with the dressers, you think of that as being wood and stuff, but I'm seeing it as water. So, it will help stretch your brain a little bit more when you go to bigger builds and actual objects and buildings and things. You'll start looking at textures a little more closely, I think, and I don't know. I think it will help. I think it's a good exercise. Even if you don't end up liking what you come up with, it's still a good thing to practice with. And who knows, you might end up making things like some of this. This is actually one of my favorites. I like this one too, but this one kind of was just on a whim, more so than the dragon was, because the dragon I actually been thinking about him for a while, and this one I just said I'm gonna try and put something together as an example, and it's just a lot of rocks and weird, toilet paper for the sun and things like that. It's kind of funny how it come together, but it's one of my favorites. And that's, part of the thing, maybe you don't like what you get out of it, and maybe you do. And then if you do, that'll spur you to make even more. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. You can contact me through Twitch, Twitter, the forums. You can get a hold of me in game even if you're on JavaDU Exile side. I do hop on to Dominion side every now and then, but I'm more regularly on Exile side because that's my main faction. But yeah, I'm open for questions. I'm not going to say I'm open for commissions or anything. That's just something a few people have asked me about. And again, I've kind of explained that I'm a little reluctant to just kind of commit to something like that, because then we start talking about deadlines and expectations, and that's just a lot of pressure for me that I don't know if I can handle. But just for having, I have fun building, and if it happens that somebody likes it and they, want to ask for it, then maybe we can work something out. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a fun day. Well, that was really sticking out a lot, isn't it? A fun day, and stay warm or stay cool, depending on, your weather situation. Ours here, we kind of warmed up. We were like, I don't know, -5 last week, and now we're like 14 or something, and that's a pretty big change. It's probably why I'm feeling so well too, besides the lack of sleep. But anyway, I will see about crafting some more of the strain blades, and so that we can have a little bit more stuff to play around with as far as finishing up the shape of the seahorse. I was trying to say sea blade, but that wasn't right. I was combining the two. And hopefully, it'll come together nicely. Fingers crossed. In the meantime, good luck with your guys' projects, and hope to see you around. Until next time, have a good day. Bye-bye.